Hello and welcome to yet another 3 emojis as a character challenge where you send me 3 different emojis and I turn them into a character. The first comment of the day is by Caleb Billups, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and it is of a heart with bandages on it, a sad face and a sword. So the sad face emoji and the sword emoji are 2 very easy emojis to make into a drawing because they're very straightforward, but the heart with the bandages was pretty hard. But in the end I decided to make a warrior on the battlefield with a sword, and he is sad for the sad emoji and the sword emoji, and then I decided to add bandages on the head and then also a hand on his chest, and maybe he's bleeding or he's been stabbed or something like that. So he's not in active combat, he's more like after battle type of thing, so that's why I also put the sword on his back. Although it could also have been quite cool if he was holding the sword to defend himself, but I did not think of that while making this drawing. For the line art I used the technical pencil in the lining section in Procreate. I really like the different line variations and the thickness that you can get with this brush. It makes things look a lot more alive and more light. But for the rest of the drawing, like the sketch and the coloring, I use the round brush in the painting section in Procreate, which is the brush that I tend to use for everything. Because of how hard it was to interpret the heart into the design, and I didn't feel like I had enough of the heart, even though I did give him a stab wound around the heart and also bandages on his head, I wanted to kind of push the emoji even further by using the colors of the emojis this time. I don't usually do this, but I felt like it would tie it all together and make the idea a lot stronger. So that's also why his hair is red, to represent the heart emoji that is also red, and then the bandages are in the same way or same placement as on the heart. I decided to put this cloth over his armor in red with like a little crown on it to represent his little kingdom, and also because I was too lazy to make more armor. There's already a lot of armor and I wanted to add that yellow from the emojis in there and also more of that red to make it a little bit more interesting, not just armor. I am quite happy with how the armor turned out though. I think it looks really nice. And then here I started shading the face. I gave him these dark circles under the eyes in the beginning, which I later add a little bit back in. They were just a little bit too dark to show more sadness in his eyes. I could have made him even sadder actually, and I probably should have. Then here I make the background. It's a very lazy background but also quite effective. Then I add the blood, and then I make the armor a bit more worn and like it's been to battle. To make him even sadder, I moved his eyebrows down and put a little bit more shadows, and then I'm done with the drawing, and this is the finished result. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I like a lot of the elements like the armor and the background, but I'm not a huge fan of the face. The next 3 emojis were sent in by It's Lucy, and it is a potted plant, a teddy bear and a butterfly. These 3 emojis could have been a lot of things. It could have been a bear with butterfly wings with plants, or a butterfly with a bear head, or whatever. It was a lot of ideas here. But I went with a little butterfly fairy holding a teddy bear and has some plant elements, which I later also changed because plant elements are not a potted plant. And one of the elements or the emojis is a potted plant. So, you know, I gotta have that pot there somewhere. I'm actually really happy with this idea and this design. I think she turned out really cute, and you will see later just how nice she will look. But even at the sketch stage, I think she looks adorable. And before I start the coloring process and the line art, I want to make a little color key or color palette, and I chose these colors here. Not all of them are in the emojis, but I wanted it to be a bit more vibrant and more like a childlike fairy instead of a more earthy fairy, which is what the emoji colors are. At this point of the drawing process, I realized that I did need a potted plant, so I added that potted plant right under the arm, very casual, although I do think it looked better without it. But you know, I had to have it in there. I still really like the plant elements that I added before I added the potted plants, like the flower on the head and the little flower on the belly of the bear, and also the little plants on the color, so I decided to keep those. Before I start shading, I add in the flat colors, so I just put the colors where they're supposed to be, so it'll be a lot easier for me to just get into the shading. This also helps me see if the colors actually fit together, because now I'm adding a brown in there as well, which I did not have in my original drawing, so I had to, or the original color palette, so I had to see if that worked in there. Here I start on the wings, which is by far my absolute favorite part of this drawing. I think it was really fun to shade, and I think it looks just really cute. This time I'm also using a more textured brush, because I'm using more of this children's book art style that I like to use sometimes, and I just figured that textured brushes look a lot better with that. So this is Spectra from the painting section in Procreate. Here I changed the color of the bear to white from brown, although there's no other brown color in this drawing, so maybe I should have kept it brown, but I liked the white one better, so I kept it white for now. And then I shade the hair. I think the hair color is absolutely adorable. And then I shaded the face, which was just the same as normal. I did everything the same, but it still turned out really cute, and I think she's absolutely adorable. Gave her some blue eyes, shaded those, and then I changed the color of the bear again. So I tried brown again, decided to go with that, even though I'm not 100% happy with it. And that was it for this drawing. Here is the final result. She is definitely my favorite of this video, and probably my favorite, maybe even of this entire 3 emojis challenge. And this is my 6th video. And the last comment of this video is by Material Girl. Thank you so much for subscribing, Material Girl, and commenting on my videos. They commented a bunny, a smiley face with hearts, and a rose. So for this one, I obviously need to make a bunny girl. I don't see any other way around it. And then for the smiling emoji with the hearts around it, I decided to just go straight forward with it and make that kind of expression on the bunny girl. And then I added a bouquet of roses. And I wanted the roses to be from somebody, but I didn't know who to add. So in the end, I just decided on the commenter's name, Material Girl. So the flowers are from Material Girl. I struggle a lot with the face, or mostly the eyes, and also the hair, because I didn't really know what to do with it, and I wanted to add bangs, but I had made so many characters with bangs already, and then I go a lot back and forth, try to decide what style I want to go for. I want to go with something cutesy, so maybe I add a little headband, but I thought that was too much, so in the end I just go with very simple semi-curly hair. Now looking back at it, I do regret not keeping the headband, because it was actually kind of cute. Then I also added a name of the bunny, which I changed a lot, and I think a lot about it, but I decided on Rebecca Rabbit at this stage, and I think I changed it later on. Here I color her hair. I don't make line art for the hair, I just go right in with it, and I go with a brown color, and I also added brown for the ears, but I didn't feel like that looked enough like the emoji, so I went with a white rabbit instead. Here I proceed to go overboard with the table texture, and I will continue to do so later in the video, because I love making wooden textures. And then here I'm shading the face. A really simple shading, really my pretty basic stuff that I do for all my faces, and then I shade the white hair, which is really hard. Shading white is hard, so I add a lot of grays, and to kind of get that illusion of a highlight in the hair, I add blue tones. Here I make some really simple roses, but I think they're really cute, turned out well. Then after I am finished with the roses, I add a white kind of wrap around it, and then the label. Here I continue with the table. I add a little bit more shadows to it before I add some highlight, and I think it turned out pretty good. And that's it for this drawing. This is how it looks. I think it looks pretty cute, actually. Pretty happy with it. And here's a close-up of her cute little face and those roses. And that is it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you have any emojis that you would like me to turn into characters, you can comment them down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.